And there we go. It is episode 42, G's podcast. Jason Myrtetus on your left, H. Mays on the right. We say H.
It's a beautiful Thursday. It's freezing cold outside. I haven't played golf since the weekend, and I'm starting to go a little stir crazy. I have to be honest.
Do you like golf in this temperature? And go with a vest and a nice, like a waffle shirt underneath, Harry, to keep you warm?
I need it a little warmer than this. I need it like in the high 40s without wind. I can handle it. But our place was closed for 3 days because they punched the green. So really, this is the end of the season. Now I'm sort of looking at, if I get 3 to 6 days outside playing golf at my place in December, January, and February, it's probably a pretty good winter.
So 3 days total, or 3 to 6?
3 to 6 total.
Okay.
Like 1 to 2 a month. If I get that, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And, I got an indoor place that we go to now. So, I'll get my fill. But this is like the first week where it really sunk in that, it's winter time.
Yeah, that you got to go into hibernation mode.
Yeah. And the Eagles lost.
You can actually take the clubs out of the car, Harry.
Oh, they are out of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're out.
I mean, you're not going over the next week. Sunday is going to be a high of 35.
Yeah, it's freezing.
Yeah,
Saturday, too. Saturday.
It's going to be freezing. Saturday. Yeah, 40 on Saturday. Low 27. Clear skies, 2% chance of rain on Saturday.
Maybe next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to get a little warmer. So
I have not swung a club this entire summer season, Harry. I got to get out again.
Yeah, I don't know what that's like. So I can't identify.
Yeah, I know. And for me, I used to play all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-kids,
right?
Growing up, I played junior golf at Radley Run,
right?
And every day I grew up in a golf course all summer,
right?
Had that handicap nice and low. I don't even know what it would be now, Harry. I'd probably be about a 15 or 16.
This is
a lot of people would take.
This is the first show that we've done where the Eagles have lost since last January.
Holy shit! Are you
think
serious?
about that? Yeah.
Well, before we get to that, we got a ton to get to.
All right.
And I'll just tell you, I'm just going to forewarn people right now. There's going to be a lot of impressions today.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to go into the mode now. Of course,
not me.
Now, of course, my accountant's calling me.
Oh, okay.
I'm supposed to call at 11.
Right.
I'll call you back.
Bean counter. That comes up today on what we're going to discuss. The term.
Yeah, so tell people about Wealth Advisors, Harry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're
they
good.
Can count your beans.
Yeah,
Angelo had a lot of beans.
Right. They're not in radio counting beans. Okay. Wealth Advisory Services. If you don't know them, you should by now. Paul, Dave, and their entire team have over 100 years of first-class service, working with all different levels of investors across the country. There's something more powerful than luck or coincidence that helps bring financial independence. It's called planning. And as pros dedicated to continuing education and a high standard of ethics, they leave nothing to chance. Wealth Advisory Services coordinate with other trusted pros to ensure seamless management of your assets with services that range from portfolio management, insurance, tax, estate, retirement planning, and beyond. Located in Bucks County and Cape May, New Jersey, wealthadvisoryservices.com, a personalized approach to managing your wealth.
There you go. They can count your beans.
That's right.
Bean counter. What an underrated term.
It really is.
That's an old school term, isn't it?
It is. It is. I think this podcast that we're going to discuss might bring bean counter back into the lexicon,
Well, bean counter only matters if you make a lot of dough.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to have beans to count.
Yeah. I mean, when I got zipped, Harry, in a corporate, what they call RIF, which is a corporate reduction in force. And they can, circumvent a contract by doing that. I had 13 months left on my contract.
Wow.
And they can do that, but they cannot replace your position. They have to eliminate your position. So
they're fine with that in radio, eliminating positions.
Yeah, because they just, they just keep Andrew in the other room as the producer,
right.
And then
make him work harder and longer.
Yeah, and for no more money.
Right.
So when they canned me on Halloween of 2019, first of all, when they first brought me in, I laughed and I'm like, I got 13 months left. They're like, well, you see, there's this little thing called corporate RIF. As a public company, when the stock goes right to the shitter, as I would say,
and
we can eliminate you.
Yeah.
And The funny thing is when I signed that contract, I was guaranteed that I would not become another fucking headstone in the Cuz graveyard. That was part of the reason for the length of the deal. Was discussed because when you left and they broke up our show and they told me that I was going to be with Anthony, I was like, look, dude, I know how this story ends. Mm-hmm. I've seen this fucking movie. He's a slasher. Oh, I'm a slasher. There's a lot of blood.
Yeah.
And, I've walked past the Mac Now headstone, the Stevie Martirano.
I love that guy.
All those guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think the engraver's already fucking engraving my stone.
Mm-hmm.
And they were.
Wow.
And
that's the thing about those contracts. They really don't really help you. They basically what they do is keep you from taking another job. Yep. Maybe when something comes up and you might be just, man, I'd love to have that position. Oh, but I can't. I'm in a contract. But when they want to zip you, there's no contract.
Nope.
You're done.
And there's a non-compete. They frankly, they should have just paid me out.
Yeah.
I would have been fine with that. Work 13 months with nothing.
Right.
I mean, I lost a ton of money just like in endorsement money because, we had a lot of advertisers that we endorsed, me, and everybody else. And that's on top of your contract. But yeah, that was, but that's fucking radio now.
Right.
And do you want to start there or do you want to start with the Eagles?
No, let's start with radio.
Okay. Because Mike launched his podcast, the Mike Missinelli podcast. Darren DeGaetano is producing it.
Right.
He's hit me up a few times for a few numbers, and Mike has as well. And I'm always happy to oblige. And I think the podcast is going well. Mike's doing it, I think, 2 days a week.
Yeah, he does multiple episodes a week, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know this, but I heard him say in the episode that there's he's like the Philly guy for the Bet Rivers network, and there's
Francesa's in there too.
Yeah, he's the New York guy. Oh, geez, I can imagine what that sounds like. I'm going to project myself. That dude.
Yeah.
But they're launching with big time, big names in each market, which is a great strategy, I think. So Mike had on Angelo on his podcast to talk about the end of Ange's career, Mike's career, their time together, the launch of sports radio.
Being reporters at the Inquirer way back in the day in the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, that was a really interesting angle to me that's how a lot of this was in this city. That's how it was built. In New York, it was built with radio guys. Mm-hmm. Here, it was built with print guys, which is far different.
Yeah. Yeah. In New York, I mean, Francesa was on TV. He was on the CBS college basketball broadcasts. I remember seeing him. That was the first time I ever saw him before he started in radio, being on the panels, during March Madness and stuff. And he was sort of an insider expert, dude for the college hoops. And that's how I came to know Francesa. And then of course he teamed up with Russo, and Mike and the Mad Dog became sort of the standard for, sports talk shows along with Angelo's morning show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Eskin, of course, too. Don't forget about him.
I mean, he preceded all of them.
Yeah,
he was doing that show on WPHT, and then it turned it into WIP and the whole thing. But, it's so weird because we're so close to New York geographically, but the shows were so different.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different way of attacking it. Now there's a lot more teams in New York.
Right. There's more there's more sports to discuss on a daily basis year round there with all those teams. And you got people from, other places that move, that live there and work there. So you could do some national kind of stuff there too and get away with it. But that was a big baseball city. I mean, you could grind up baseball on a daily basis for 6 months.
Yep.
On sports talk radio in New York. And they did, Yankees, Mets, what have you. In Philadelphia, it became more of the, the guy talk thing and Eagles.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, I believe this, Harry, that because of the popularity of Mike and the Mad Dog and the fact that they were on for 5.5 hours, 1 to 6:30, basically every day.
Crazy.
Leading into baseball. And those two guys were huge baseball honks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that New York was more of a baseball town because of their presence. Now you had the Yankees, obviously, and the Mets, but I think that put it more on the front lobe of people's brains because Dog and Mike talked so much baseball because they loved the sport.
Well, yeah, and you had, the great Yankees teams in the 90s starting in 96,
Yeah.
with all those World Series with Torre, the Subway Series
Yeah.
with the Mets a couple of years after that. I mean, there was dominance in the sports and star power, on those baseball teams. So, it became something that guys were talking about on a daily basis.
Yeah, larger than life owner.
Yeah.
That wasn't afraid to spend. Legendary cathedral of sport where they played, and then you look at those teams,
the history.
Jeter and Mariano
Clemens,
Rivera,
Roger Clemens, and
Pettit,
Andy Pettit,
yeah. I mean, just great teams, and Paul O'Neill,
Bernie
right?
Williams,
yeah. I remember being down at spring training down in Clearwater when I was working at YSP. Cousin Ed and I were down there, and the Phillies. We were taping interviews, and they were playing that day the New York Yankees.
Right.
And like just seeing those being on the field while they're taking BP and the Yankees in that pinstripe, like I'll tell you, that'll give you fucking chills.
Oh yeah. I have a similar
That's a big fucking deal, man.
I have a similar experience because that my mom lives not far from the Clearwater, Tampa area. So I went down for a week and stayed at her place, and then I'd commute in to Clearwater and Tampa and got media credentials to go to a couple of the games, with the whole intent of being in the press box to go meet and introduce myself to guys who covered the sport, just so I could get them on my shows that I was starting to do up in the Lehigh Valley. So I get down there, I set up all the media, availability, and I get into the press box at the Yankees complex, which is across the street from where the Tampa Bay Bucks play their games. And there's Mike and the Mad Dog doing their show live from the Legends Field, I think they called it.
Yeah.
And
correct.
They're doing it right in the media press box. So during one of the breaks, I went up and introduced myself to Dog, and he couldn't have been nicer.
What's going on, Harry?
Oh, he was great. He takes the headphones off, shakes my hand, looks me in the eyes. Nice to meet you. And I told him what I'm doing, and he pointed out guys in the press box. Now, there's so-and-so from Newsday. You got to go over there and see him. Boom, boom, boom. 2 or 3 guys, he pointed out and said, they'd be happy to, come on your show. The next break, Francesa was sitting there. Dog got up to go to the restroom or whatever. I go to introduce myself to him. He didn't even look up. Didn't take the headphones totally off. He had the one, flipped off the one ear. And he goes, "Hey, how you doing?" And that was it.
He said, "We'll see you back after this."
Yeah, back after this. Yeah.
He was a curmudgeon,
he really
crummy,
was.
arrogant bastard.
He really was.
In an industry with a lot of that.
Oh,
he
yeah.
kind of was the king of fucking arrogance. And,
yeah.
But like Dog, like you mentioned, like Dog doing that, seriously, like what did that mean to you, Har?
Oh, it meant the world at that time.
He's a fucking major player.
Yeah, and he was part of the reason why I'm doing this.
Yeah,
no lie, listening to their shows, listening to Angelo and Tony Bruno back in the day in the mornings, and and Eskin. Like that's why I grew up listening to those guys. And I wasn't like I was 15 years old. I was a little older, but it was like, man, this guy took the time, to give me some advice and tell me to go talk to this guy. It was really cool.
Engaged you.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, and Harry, you got to talk to, Jason Stark. He's from Philly.
Right. Yes.
He's a great guest.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Ken Davidoff over there, Newsday. You got to go see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is great on scouting.
Right.
Not very good on the game.
Oh, it was great.
So yeah, I mean that's what it means. And look, sports talk personalities, what you hear on the air is not really the person. Like Mike off the air. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Mike off the air moves very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Missinelli, like he's very almost chill.
Mm-hmm.
But on the air, he's a fucking litigator.
Right.
Frankly, he's a pain in the ass on the air. But that's part of his thing. Like he is like going to come at you and show you no quarter.
Right. Challenge you. Yeah.
But that's part of
there's an edge. He was always on the edge. Like,
you
know what I mean? They had an edge.
And when that light went on, it was game on.
Right.
And Angelo off the air, I don't know that I've ever worked, and you worked with Ange too, but I don't know that I've ever worked with a guy that was more awkward off the air than Ange.
Well, I was in sales for a brief time.
Sales
with IP, when Angelo was there, but I never was on the air over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really know him. You know, he was a beast, you know, by the time that I was trying to sell for him, but I never really, you know, it's not like I ever took a meeting with him or was ever involved in anything directly with him.
Yeah.
I only know him on the air.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was in management there for a decade.
Right.
I was his boss for 8 years. And, you know, we met every day after every show, Monday through Thursday, because on Fridays, at the Borgata. But Monday through Thursday, we would meet at 10 o'clock after their show and talk about the next day. They'd be planning guests and the whole thing. It'd be like me and the promotions people and the entire show. I mean, some of those meetings were insanely legendary. And he would come in after a show, Harry, in the old office at Two Bala Plaza, and he would just fall into his chair.
Exhausted. Yeah.
He was shot.
Yep.
He was like the camera after a 20-minute segment with no calls.
Right.
Shot. Right. And he had nothing left.
Right.
Because I will tell you, and I've worked in this industry damn near 30 years. You've been in it a long time. I have never worked with a guy that worked as hard as he did. Yeah. And it was as diligent as him.
I'd always heard the stories about, you know, when he'd go to bed, when he'd get up and all that kind of stuff. And he'd watch the games on tape or DVR or whatever. And you know, like 4 a.m, he's watching the Phillies game from the night before. And he was ready to go at 6 o'clock. And I, you know, listening to this podcast, I thought it was awesome. I listened to it this morning. I learned that he planned out every damn segment of every damn show, every damn day. And they never included Al in any of it. Like Al was totally there to react, hearing things for the first time, which now thinking back to the show, that really worked.
Yeah. Because nothing was like pre-planned. Like, I'm going to say this, you say that.
Right. There was no reaction that was rehearsed. And I love how Angela goes, Al's not a big prep guy. Like breaking news.
Yeah. Call. Alert the presses. Al is not a prep guy. He doesn't even prep his wardrobe.
Hall of Famer Al Morganti, by the way, which we talked about last week. But the other thing, 2 things really jumped out at me with Angelo that I didn't know. He said that he had a clause in his contract where Bigby, the program director, couldn't talk to him.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? Like, you talk about a player. You're a player when you can get that written into your deal where your boss, if
program director,
just say, look, get out of my face. I'm not talking to you and I don't have to check my contract. And Bigby didn't even know it existed in the contract, apparently. And the other thing that jumped out when he was considering retirement for like the 2nd or 3rd time, I guess the last go round, they convinced him to come back for 1 more year. And they said, name your price.
Yeah.
Think about those 2 things to show you where he was. Yes. As a legend in the business.
Yeah. And
I mean, Jesus.
The first part with Bigby and having that he didn't have to talk, he did still correspond with him when it benefited Ange, but not when it didn't.
Right.
So basically what it was Bigby couldn't tell him what to do.
Right.
And his contract, Steve Mountain was his agent, still is. That contract would have been negotiated in New York. When you get to the level where Angelo was, those contracts were not negotiated locally per se. So that was with Mel Karmazin.
Okay.
Who was running Infinity Broadcasting at the time, later to become CBS
Radio. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how he got that in there, because Ange had a deal in place to go to Boston, to go to New England at the time. And EEI was throwing a shitload of money at them. And they almost went. Imagine it had they gone. Because Al wanted to go home. Ange is from Providence. You know, he's from Rhode Island. Whole show goes up there to New England, and he would have worked there just as well.
Wow. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, that's how that all happened. I remember talking to Ange, and he said that's when because he had a serious offer from Boston, his salary more than doubled to keep him in Philly. And it was a good move by them because he's been a fucking animal.
Good for him. And the other thing that jumped out right away, you know, Ange says he's cooked. He sounded as sharp as a tack to me.
Yeah, me too.
But they talked about how, and Mike agreed, that the job, when you do it at that level, and you know, even when you're just trying to get to that level, sucks the life out of you. And I don't think the listener really ever understands that. They think, oh man, you guys just go in there and talk sports. What a great life. And it is a great job.
Yeah.
But when you're not on the air, like when you're on the air, it's kind of like the time to release, you know, just let it go. those other 20 hours until your next show, whatever it is,
agony.
It's agony because you're constantly thinking, I got nothing for tomorrow. What am I going to talk about? How am I going to get people interested? You're constantly thinking about the next show.
Yep.
And that's a grind.
As soon as the show ends.
That's a grind.
I mean, how many times do we meet after the show, Harry? What are we doing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Because you wanted to know so that you could just relax mentally the rest of the day.
Get a little head start so you could mentally relax for a couple hours. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you could get your face out of your phone, not going, I got to find some story or some, for a segment, or sometimes it was just something bizarre for a segment, or you're firing off some story to Egan for the noon or whatever.
Right.
But life became prep, and it does fuck with your head. And when you're on the air every day too, I will say this, that social media fucks with your head.
Yes, and that was something that these guys didn't have to deal with for a long time.
In the beginning,
when they started, like that was already basically there when I started.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I started in 2003 up in Lehigh Valley, and Twitter wasn't around yet. I think Facebook, I don't think
MySpace.
That was around yet. But this the cell phone was becoming really, really big. I think smartphones, I don't think were even out yet.
No,
I think that was a couple years after. So
everybody was on the Nextel, Har.
That's right. That's right. The Motorola flip phones and stuff.
And Jody Mack. Let's go to Bob mobilizing on WIP.
But Angelo said that he'd always prep, so he had basically 6 hours of content every day for a 4-hour show.
Yep. Yeah. Insane amount. I mean, he had legal pads filled. And the thing, even during breaks, he was saying he always wanted to know where he was going next.
Mm-hmm.
He never flew blind, never flew with instruments. He was always clear-sighted where he was going to go and how he was going to execute each and every segment. And during breaks, I mean, he'd be getting people, if energy was sagging at 8:30 in the morning, he knew that was a huge hour. He was pumping everybody up during a break. I mean, it was so impressive to watch because, the lifestyle is really, I mean, we had to send him all his emails for prep for the next day or giveaways or whatever by 6:30 because he was in bed asleep by 7 every night.
Yeah.
Every night.
That's crazy, man. The discipline that takes is, I don't have it. I'll just tell you right now, I don't have it. I could do morning radio. I did, a little bit here and there, but I'm not going to bed at 3 a.m. or going to bed at 7 p.m. There's no way I can do it.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do, and he was so diligent about it, and having some people around him, like Al being around him, and Al comes off as this schlubby, non-prep guy and everything, but he's actually incredibly intelligent.
Oh, he's very sharp. Yeah, absolutely.
And what Al did off the air for that show,
Yeah.
Just keeping Ange as sane as he could was like so appreciated by us in management. He was the guy to like calm things down, take the temperature down. Nice. And then, you bring in guys like Jonesy, who worked for a year and a half for free.
Yeah.
When he retired, he had this big nut of money. He had just signed a contract with the Flyers, blew out his knee again. I think he signed a 3-year deal for like $5 million. Ed Snyder paid him. And Jonesy could do that and come in and came in and cut his teeth. And then eventually they realized we gotta keep this guy.
This guy's good. This guy's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's so like Ange would go to Jonesy and Jonesy just delivered.
Yeah.
All from Corn Boy and all that shit.
Now, did he parlay that radio experience into the TV role with hockey, or did he already have the TV role in some capacity?
Jonesy. When he started doing morning radio, that's when he started doing Comcast Sportsnet.
Okay.
He was doing pre and post game live at first, and then
he's getting paid for that. He was just coming into Angelo a couple days a week for free.
Yeah,
at the start. Okay.
Yep. And then he parlayed, the pre and post game live gig when they moved on from Dorney and Coetzee as the analysts, and put him on TV as the analyst. And when the NHL had the lockout and came back, and they came back with the OLN, the Outdoor Life Network.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's when he picked up the national gig in Stamford, which led to Versus, which led to NBC, which has now led him to TNT. So, I mean, he's doing great. And I don't think he's going to be on after Ange's show is done or Al. But we'll see where those guys pop up.
I thought it was funny.
Jonesy's great.
Oh, he is great. I thought it was funny, too, when, evidently Mike was considering making the move from print to radio. And he had consulted Angelo, to see, what's this all about? And Angelo said to him, Mike, it's fun. Like he was, you can just do anything you want. And it's, you don't have an editor that's going to change everything that you said. Like you can say whatever you feel, and it's a blast. And that was kind of maybe that sort of pushed Mike over the edge to do it.
Yeah.
And, I just, it was fun.
Yeah.
I had a blast. Now there was some, difficult days, and everybody's got them, and you're at war with certain people and whatnot, but it was a blast. I mean, I can't tell you how much I laughed and just, was like,
working with Bruno, Harry.
Oh yeah. Well, not only him, but him, but creating radio was fun. You know what I mean? Like you're just winging it sometimes, and you get this idea, and all of a sudden you're into this thing, and I'm like, man, this is really cool.
Yeah, like when magic happens that you didn't plan.
Right. Right.
When I was working with Mike, and for some reason I just started doing cuz karaoke at points.
Mm-hmm.
I would sing as Anthony, and the one day I sung that El King song.
Oh, I remember it to this day.
And Mike was
X's
dying.
and O's, right? Yeah.
Have me a boy, turn it to a man. And I'm doing this live on the air. This wasn't recorded. I'm playing the song. Turn it to a man. I told him all the things that he couldn't understand. Whoa. And I go, yo, Mikey Mish. They call me the Bo. And Mike lost it. So we go to break, and I look over and I see the hotline ringing, and I pick it up.
Yep.
And it's Anthony. I'm going to fucking kill you. Or like when Bernie called me and you that day.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep.
I have that audio somewhere. We'll have to play it sometime.
Yeah.
But Bernie talking to Bernie drops.
Oh, that was epic. I mean,
I actually got complaints about it, though. Too.
Did you?
Well, people were like, "Oh, he's an old man. You're making fun of him." Blah, blah. I'm like, to fucking loosen up.
Yeah, exactly. But the other thing with the guy talk thing was Bigby, Tom Bigby's idea, and it was genius. And the other thing that I remember, the difference place where I worked versus where you worked and they worked, it didn't seem like there was a team aspect to WIP. Each show was its own individual entity, and sometimes they were at odds with one another. And Bigby promoted that, like he wanted that kind of a situation. Whereas when we started with 9:50 a.m., which evolved into the Fanatic, we sort of had to take a team approach, like we're all in this together to try to eat away at their ratings. So it was a totally different dynamic.
Yeah, and you're right. Bigby did. He wanted those guys, no guest, you're the fucking expert.
Right.
You're the guy they're tuning in for. They're not tuning in for whoever.
Which was the opposite of one of our bosses who loved the big guest and thought that was a national radio thing that he had. And he thought that was going to translate big in Philly. Some did, some didn't. But it's totally opposite of what Bigby was after.
The sweet spot was somewhere in the middle of that, right?
Right.
And pending the guest, like if you have a guest that, like Mike always said, I'd book a guest and he'd be like, why? What does that do for the audience? And I'd have to either sell it or bail on the guest.
Right.
But you had to have a guest on, not just to have a guest, but to bring something to the table that could foster conversation, opinion, and debate or whatever. I thought that was interesting too. And Bigby, that station was always warring. That was the hardest part about my job in management there, Harry, was I'd get email or texts and emails from hosts going, why did he have this guest on? I wanted to have him on. I'm like, well, they booked
territorial, very territorial. Yeah.
My guest. That was my guy. He can't have that guy. It's my guy. Like we saw that when Anthony came over.
Sure.
And Mike had Legner on and was like, that's my guy.
Yeah.
No, it's not. He's ESPN's guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're right. Like some guests really worked, whether it was, like Brian Westbrook or I always thought Jason Stark was a great guest, a guy who actually from that same ilk with Mike and Angelo in the Great Sports Debate in the Inquirer. Jason Stark would send you an email 5 hours before his guest hit with talking points.
Right.
So you could, the guy did prep work for his fucking hits.
He's a pro.
And just like the nicest guy in the world.
Great.
Unreal.
Yeah.
The other thing that stuck out to me was when they were talking about how Angelo decided to leave, and then they were talking about Mike's departure, and Angelo, you got screwed.
Yeah.
You know, how about that show now? Is that what you wanted? That was a great plan. About the best show ever.
Yes.
And shredded him. Mike kind of took the high road there.
Well, Mike eventually admitted that, probably his delving into politics all the time was his downfall. And Angelo said, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. That was stupid.
Yeah, good. That's what killed you.
Yeah.
Like Ange would touch into politics, but more in a tongue-in-cheek manner.
Mm-hmm.
And he always had Arlen Specter. Arlen Specter used to call every Monday on his train ride to DC.
The season ticket holder for the Eagles. And I remember those calls. Yeah.
Good morning, Angelo.
Uh-huh.
How are you? He was great. But he'd be like, Mr. Senator.
Yeah.
And Angelo loved, rubbing elbows. I remember a Christmas party at Angelo's house, and Arlen Specter was there.
Yeah.
And, all these big wigs are there, and Ange loved that element of the job. So,
right.
Check out the podcast. We'll give Mike a little pump here. The Mike Missinelli podcast. I'll tell you, Ange comes off so likable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love the way he does the show anymore. I think, they put out a tweet the other day after the Eagles lost. Should Jonathan Gannon be fired?
I saw that. Yeah,
I was like, oh,
yeah, geez. I know. I mean, Jesus.
They're fucking 8-1. Like, what are we doing here?
I know. But
you had a bad show yesterday. I should be fired.
It was interesting though, like how they talked about, like it became, you had to entertain. Like it wasn't just coming on the air and being Mr. Sports Reporter and talking about sports. It became, you had to entertain. And I remember that the point in my career where I finally realized that we had a program director. He wasn't there very long. Greg Henson was his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a lifer. I mean, he's bounced around in so many different markets as a host. He hosted the morning show at the station, plus was the program director. And he pulled me aside one time because he'd listened to the night show that I was doing with Yannicone and Robbie Ellis. And he said, listen, he goes, like, I know you've got a personality. I need more Harry Mays and less Costas is the guy that he brought up, Bob Costas. He goes, I need more you, less Costas. And it took a little while for that to really sink in, but he was right.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was. I'll never forget it. I think Johnny Marks was there when that happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's aware of that conversation. Yeah,
I remember Conklin telling this story about Bigby coming to him going, I need more. I don't need Joe Conklin. I need more characters. Like he never wanted Conklin to be on the air as Conklin.
Right. Oh, and
I'm sending a text real quick here, Harry, because AJ just posted this. Said, "Yo, boys, you guys are on 92.5 HD3 right now. Don't ask me how I found that." Now,
what?
So I just sent a note to my guy over at the Flyers because the Flyers broadcast network is on that HD3 channel, and somehow my thing is feeding that.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, maybe they should make this a permanent part of 92.5 HD3.
We're going to see a big spike in the ratings. No, it's just me. He said it's just me, not.
Oh.
What do you mean just weird. Me?
So they're only getting your feed?
I don't know.
Wow, that's incredible.
Or is it maybe it's a rebroadcast of
Flyers
Daily or something.
Flyers Daily.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. I was going to say, because this is a 92.5 HD3 is a Beasley owned property.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he says it sounds like a stick to hockey or a post game.
Oh, okay.
Freaking me out.
Don't get me all excited here, AJ. Jesus.
Forget that. Me and Harry were back on terrestrial radio.
Exactly. Oh
my God.
Yeah, it really is a good episode. It was great to hear both their voices again. It kind of harkened you back to, like it's why I got into the business is listening to those guys in the 90s.
Yeah, I think you made a good point that, doing the job is fun. And in a lot of ways, it's very therapeutic, the 4 hours on the air.
Mm-hmm.
Very cathartic to get all the shit out. And that's the thing, too. Like, people don't realize, like, I can do that. I know sports, but It's not about knowing sports.
No.
It's about being able to carry an entertaining program for 4 hours. And you don't have the option, Harry, of going, hey, there's no phone calls. Here's Led Zeppelin.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my Let's play an album side.
Yeah.
Until Jason Starks hit at 3:00 or whatever.
Yeah, we got 20 minutes. Let's play Kashmir and Whole Lot of Love.
And the levee breaks.
Yep. And then we'll follow that with a whole lot of Rosie from AC/DC.
Oh, man.
Whole lot of Rosie.
Hilarious.
Anyway.
But good podcast. I'd suggest everybody listen to it.
Yeah, I'm going to send Mike a note about it too. We'll get Mike on too. Maybe it's time Mikey Miss and I break bread. And I mean, the last time I appeared publicly with Mike anywhere was when I called into his last show and was like, "You got anything else planned?" I came off like an insensitive prick, but I thought it was his call, so I didn't know.
Well,
we went from me.
It was funny too, because Angelo gave props to Howard Eskin for, his place in the business and, sort of, helping put WIP where WIP is. And Mike couldn't give him any credit because he hates him.
Yeah, he couldn't utter
he just can't
the words.
Get past it.
Yeah. AJ says the radio programming in this city is fucking trash now. That drive home slot is the worst thing I've ever heard. I don't listen to it, so
I don't listen anyway. So
so I can't really comment on it. I got friends on that show, like I know Hunter a little bit. He's a good dude, hockey man, played junior. I hired Ty. I brought Ty to the Fanatic. Right. Frankly, I brought Ty to the Fanatic
twice
so I could get out of doing Mike's show.
Well, no, you brought him to the Fanatic, but did you bring him to IP too?
I didn't bring him to IP, but I worked with him at IP.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't bring him. I wasn't in a hiring position at that time. I did fire DeCamera from WIP as a producer. He was Eskin's producer.
Yeah, I remember.
Then he went over to the Fanatic, and then I took his programming job at the Fanatic too. I'm going to go take his morning show next hour. Me and you were going to take his morning show from him.
Is that right?
Yeah. I just go and take his shit. I could just do it as him.
You probably could.
Yeah, might be more entertaining. Let's get to that Eagles loss now.
Well, first of all, I got to tell you about Sam's sleep.
Yeah,
because
didn't put me to sleep. That was
maybe when Angelo finally retires, he will get Sam's sleep. But because if you're having trouble getting enough sleep at night, Sam's Sleep has you covered. The scientifically advanced Sam Stack includes ingredients that are naturally found in your body. And sleep is the best form of recovery. And it has helped N. Farrell, Not For Long Media founder and NFL tight end Colin Thompson take his game to the next level. It's quite simple. All you got to do is drink one serving just 30 minutes before bed, and your body will naturally calm itself down. It's like a decompression, situation. Other sleep supplements, they're going to leave you groggy in the morning, but not Sam Sleep. You're going to wake up feeling refreshed and ready to conquer the day. Make sure you check them out at GetSam.com and use the code GEEZ, Jeez, for 10% off your order. Get Sam Sleep.
I love it. Angie's going to have to get a lot of sleep, get those sleeping habits back in order. Monday Night Football, we didn't get a lot of sleep Monday night because of the game, Harry. It went right down to the wire. It just shows you how hard the NFL is. To just keep getting wins. The only team in the division that was under 500 was Washington, but they come in here. I thought they just played a really diligent game, and maybe the Eagles were just due. I don't think it's a big deal they lost.
No, I don't either. But it was. The Eagles got out to a good start. I mean, they were up 14-7 at the end of the first quarter, a couple of really nice drives. And you thought, this is going to be another win. And then all of a sudden, Hurts throws an interception, a deep ball that gets picked off. And
that was a hell of an interception.
The whole game seemed to change right there, because Washington went on two more big drives and they consumed the ball. I mean, they held it for 6-7 minutes on all these scoring drives, running the football, churning third downs. They had so many third and shorts, which was really not typically what they do. Typically, they're a team that gets first down, they get stuffed for no gain. Second down, they run it for 3 yards, and you got a 3rd and 7. And, you start building up those 3rd and longs. A guy like Heineke's not going to get that done on a consistent basis. But they had a lot of 3rd and shorts to their credit. They did get a call or two to go their way or not get called. That face mask was an obvious face mask on the Goddard fumble. I don't know how all those officials missed that, but that was a big play. But I'm not saying the Eagles lost because of the officials. Washington had a great game plan. They ran the football. They converted third downs. Heineke made enough plays. He had a really smart, heady play at the end there to take the knee, give himself up, and let Brandon Graham slide right into him and get the penalty. I mean, that was – say what you want about him. That was
flopped like a European soccer player.
He absolutely did, but it worked.
Yeah, it looked like he got shot by a sniper rifle from the upper deck.
Yeah, well, the World Cup's right around the corner. Maybe he was channeling a little World Cup. But yeah, big win for Washington, and a loss for the Eagles. But they're 6.5 point favorites, I think, now out in Indianapolis, which is kind of a weird game given the fact that Indianapolis has a new coach now, and they got a win last week in Las Vegas. They got a great running back too, and that's really the Eagles' sort of their Achilles heel is run defense. You saw it on display Monday night.
Yep.
They go out and get Linval Joseph, former New York Giant, to help be a run stuffer. They signed him just the other day, because Jordan Davis is injured. And I think, you're starting to see that, the big kid, the first round pick was actually, he's helping you big time against the run because they haven't been really the same team against it since he's been gone. So big challenge this week with that running back in Indianapolis.
Yeah, and that controls the clock too, keeps Hurts the offense off the field and dictating the pace. And yeah, game number 2 for Jeff Saturday.
Colonel's favorite coach.
Oh, God. He's got I think that we should chip in some money here on the OG's podcast and get an Indianapolis Colts Jeff Saturday jersey and give it to him. But spell it how he says it.
Right.
SAH-ERRR-DEE. Saturday.
D. Yeah, Saturday.
Oh, man. I'd love to get him on again, but that fucking internet of his is just so shit.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. I'd love to have him. I'd love to have him on like every other week.
Yeah, get him on. We got to get him on in person.
Yeah.
I think we should take the show on the road, Harry.
Where?
We should do a live show somewhere. Like on site at some bar or something up in your neck of the woods or King of Prussia or the city or something.
No, I'm down with that. As long as we could technically pull it off, could we do that just with our, a laptop or?
Yeah, and we just have to plug into some sort of PA system.
Right.
I have a lot of those, from all the music shit I have in here, amps and stuff like that, but a PA, and most bars have that on site. We need some backline, Harry.
Backline? What's that mean? I don't know what that means.
A backline is when like a band comes in or a singer or guitar player comes in, and the backline's already there of a drummer and a bass player.
Oh, okay. Rhythm section. Yeah.
Yeah, it starts to happen. It happens a lot in the blues world. You could just give me something in the key of E blues, and the guy just riffs over top of it and solos like a maniac.
Yeah. Brian Cunningham suggests Barnaby's. That used to be one of my haunts over there in Havertown.
Yeah, they got multiple. They got Havertown. Yeah. They have one in Westchester.
Right.
Matter of fact, Barnaby's would be a good spot. I know a guy over there. Let me contact him.
Yeah, I saw. Speaking of Westchester, I saw the Stuli Presidente. Was out in Westchester last week eating pizza.
Oh, really?
Yes, at Pizza Westchester, I think was the place. The place was called, and because they had Barstool had their college basketball tournament. Not really a tournament. It was like a doubleheader that they held at the Wells Fargo Center a couple days ago, and I think they were all in town for that. So he went out to Westchester and ate pizza.
I'm looking through his Twitter feed. Okay, here it is. At Benny's. Yeah, Benny's Pizza. That's right on Church, I want to say.
I thought, well, maybe he did more than one then, because I thought this was called like Pizza Westchester or something.
Maybe he did. That's the first one I saw. Let me see. I'm going down to see if he does another one.
But he liked it. He gave it a pretty solid review.
Yeah, whenever I take Evan to go get the haircut, get the salad trimmed hair over at Cruising Style Barbershop.
Uh-huh.
A buddy of mine I went to high school with owns that joint, Craig.
Right.
And yeah, that's the only one. We stop at Benny's and pick up a couple slices after.
Nice.
Good spot, Benny's Pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like that guy goes and eats a slice of pizza and everybody's watching him.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
They go fucking nuts, right?
Okay. Yeah. Benny's Pizza. That is the place. I mean, they had. Wait, that's a different one. No, that's a different one. There was another one.
So he did do two of them.
He must have done multiple ones.
In Westchester, huh?
Yeah, in and around Westchester.
Yeah, the one on Benny's was 18 hours ago.
Yeah, this was like a couple days ago, I want to say.
What the hell is Portnoy doing out here in Westchester?
Well, they're headquartered. Yeah, here it is. Westchester Pizza Cafe. And this was a day ago that he posted this. This is a different joint.
Westchester. Oh, I see it here now.
Yeah.
Where's Westchester Pizza Cafe?
I don't know, but evidently Brent Selleck hangs out in there. He knows the owner, and they called Brent Selleck while he was in there, and they gave the phone to him, and he's talking to Selleck.
Oh, really?
Okay. At this place.
All right, it's on 701 Nield Street.
There you go. The owner's friends with Selleck, I think.
Okay, yeah. Selleck lives in the area now. He lives right up the road from me here.
Right.
Oh, this looks like
Barstool.
A nice yeah.
Barstool's actually they're part of Penn Gaming, and I think they have a headquarter. I think they have a spot in Philly. So I think he's here every now and then, periodically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brent's doing the real estate thing, commercial real estate, and he lives right up the road, right up 926 here from me.
Do we still have commercial real estate? I thought the pandemic killed that.
Yeah. Look at
definitely a different business.
Ruin Tomorrow goes, get Kern an old school ISDN line.
Yeah, there you
He
go.
never know how to connect it, Joe. He'd be like freaking out. How do I connect this thing? I mean, I don't know.
Hey, I think you sell him short, because he's from back in the day when you'd have to go to, send your story in on this crazy contraption, that device that they used to use.
Yeah, it was like a fax machine.
Yeah, and he'd have to know how to do that. So I think he could do it.
Is Kevin Cooney or He helped me. Right?
I had dinner with Kevin the other night. On the Beat podcast. Are they still doing that?
Yes, good podcast. I had dinner with Kevin Cooney the other night. He was covering the Flyers game, and he and I were sitting down having a little meal.
Nice.
Talking about the business.
Yeah. I'd love it when Angela would bring him on. Kevin Cooney.
Nobody's doing it better. Nobody. Jack McCaffrey. Nobody's doing it better than him either.
Oh my God, it's so great. The Jack appearances on that show were legendary too. They were great.
So angry. Harry, I want to hit you on a couple things out the door here real quick.
All right.
I found this book. My mom got this for me years ago, and I forgot about it. And I found it when I was cleaning out some shit out of the studio closet.
Yeah.
It's called the Bathroom Factor Flush Book.
Oh, geez.
True or false trivia for people on the go. So it's like one of those ones you stick in your shitter.
Yeah.
And it's just got like a list of 10 find the flush factor, the quiz that gives you a heads up, the flush factor's account of how many false trivia items you'll find below. See if you can spot the quartet of phony falsehoods among the facts. So let me give you 10.
All right. But I was never one that liked to read books or magazines in the bathroom. I want to get in and get out of there as quickly as possible.
So you don't bring your phone in when you go to take a deuce?
Well, I bring my phone in because my phone's always on my possession. So yes, I do. But I'm not one that's going to sit there and like finish until I read an article and then finish. Like, I'm getting out of there.
Yeah, I'm more video on the shitter than I am reading.
Okay.
No, I'm a YouTube shitter, Harry.
Oh, jeez.
I'm in the bathroom so goddamn much.
Yeah.
So let's start with this one, Harry.
All right.
Number 1, the lava lamp was inspired by an egg timer. Is that fact or fiction?
I remember the lava lamps. In fact, when I was a kid, I thought they were so cool. Like some of my older cousins. My older cousins always had them in their rooms, and I never had one, but I thought, there was something like out of the late 60s, early 70s type of deal. I thought. You're saying it was because of an egg timer? Or that's what invented?
That's what inspired the lava lamp.
I'm going to say false.
Oh, you would be incorrect.
Really?
Yeah.
How is an egg timer producing a lava lamp?
It says fact. The psychedelic icon of the 60s was invented by British accountant Edward Craven Walker in 1963 after he was inspired by an egg timer he saw in a pub. So you are 0 for 1 right now.
An egg timer. I'm not visualizing the egg timer. I don't see it at all.
I don't even know what an egg timer looks like.
Me either.
Is that just
That's why I said false.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You used to just flip the hourglass over for 2 minutes and you'd make the soft boiled eggs, which I am still a huge fan of.
I'm not a fan of that.
All right. Number 2. Elephants are anatomically incapable of turning their heads side to side. Is that fact or flush?
Side to side. I'll say true.
That would be incorrect, Harry. You are no good at this.
These questions are not in my wheelhouse.
They have a similar range of motion as humans.
Really?
All right, let me give you one in your wheelhouse, Harry.
Hmm.
Number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Going full Rob Ellis on the quiz questions here. CBS TV stands for Combined Broadcast Service.
False.
You are finally correct.
Isn't it like Continental Broadcast Service?
Columbia.
Okay.
Columbia Broadcasting System.
Okay.
All right. Let me give. This might be in your wheelhouse too. Correct for number 3. Number 4. What number?
4.
A common weather. Or no, sorry. Chesapeake Bay was formed from a meteor impact crater.
Huh.
Now, you've been down in that area, Harry.
Well, sure.
Is that fact or flush?
From a media what?
From a meteor impact crater.
I'll say true.
That is absolutely correct. You are now 2 and 2, Harry.
2 and 2.
Yep. It says, fact, the area that is now so beautiful and lush with wildlife started with a really bad day about 35 million years ago.
How do they know that?
I don't know.
You know?
Maybe they checked the papers.
Like nobody was around here 35 million years ago to write that down and put it somewhere.
Angelo started 35 million years ago. All right, let me give you this one. Mm-hmm. The Donkey Kong video game was originally intended to feature Popeye the Sailor.
I'm going to say true.
Oh, you nailed it. Fuck, you are on fire right now.
I was never a big Donkey Kong or arcade guy.
No?
No.
Right,
I never got into video games or anything. I'm a little weird.
It says the Nintendo folks couldn't get the rights to Popeye, Bluto, and Olive Oil, that love triangle, and it turned into Donkey Kong, so named because its inventor thought donkey meant stupid in English. It does.
It does. Remember, I got that from Eskin. I'm going to give him props. So he would call some team like a donkey team.
Yeah.
And then I'd use donkey. When you and I did the radio show, that was always a favorite word of ours.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of some donkey broadcaster type thing.
Brian Cunningham says, not Popeye Doyle, Har.
Wow.
Well, that's a French Connection reference, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's Gene Hackman's character, right?
Yep, not Popeye Jones, father of Seth Jones of the Chicago Blackhawks. Harry, you knew I was going there.
Yeah.
The clamp which held the Enola Gay, the atomic bomb on the Enola Gay, in history's first nuclear attack, was made by one of the Marx brothers.
What?
The clamp that it released from. That clamp was made by a Marx brother.
And that sounds so stupid. I'll probably say it's true.
Yep, you're correct.
Yeah. Now, which Marx brother?
Zeppo. Not Giuseppe. Zeppo.
You can get a Zepp in Norristown.
Is that right?
It's a good sandwich. It has salami in it.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
A Zepp.
All right, let me give you 2 more.
All right.
Soap diva Susan Lucci.
Oh yeah, she always finished second in the.
She finally won, right?
Yeah, I think so.
An Emmy. She is actually the daughter of icon Phyllis Diller. Fact or flush?
Wow, I remember Phyllis Diller.
Yeah,
she would always have the boas, like the furry boas, and she'd have that the cigarette with the long filter on it.
Yeah, with like a stick.
It was like a piece that you put the cigarette into, and you'd smoke it, like sort of like Hunter Thompson used to do. Hunter S. Thompson had that. I'll say true.
That is incorrect.
Oh, okay. Well, who is she?
I don't know who she is, the daughter of, but that was a rumor that was not true.
All right.
I have 3 more for you. Actually.
Hold on. Steve Danzies checks in. He goes, not SD Jones, the wrestler.
Wow.
Who would get his butt kicked every week. Yeah, SD Jones.
Yes.
Special Delivery Jones.
Was it Special Delivery?
Special Delivery Jones.
It's a great wrestling name. So that was incorrect. So now, right now, you are 1, 2, 3 wrong, 4 right. Richard Nixon funded his political campaign with the thousands of dollars he won playing poker in the South Pacific during World War II. Fact or flush, Harry?
Jesus. I'm going to say false.
Oh, you're incorrect. Oh. Fact. He learned poker from fellow naval officer James Stewart and once turned down a dinner invite with Charles Lindbergh to host a poker game.
Jeez.
Pretty crazy.
Wow.
All right, last one.
All right.
Tiger Woods is a movie buff who has a $5 million collection of film props, including the Batmobile and Dorothy's slippers from The Wizard of Oz.
I'll say true.
Flush. He collected other things that turned out to be even more expensive, it says. And then one last one. Christopher Walken was once a lion tamer in the circus.
That has to be true.
It is true.
Yeah, it has to be true.
Yeah.
Can you imitate him?
He's impossible.
Working with a lion?
Wow. I can't do it.
No, but some guys really can. That Pollock, is it Kevin Pollock?
Yeah.
The actor? He does an amazing Walken.
Yeah. He was in A Few Good Men.
Yes.
He was Lieutenant Weinberg. Who's going to do it? Yeah. You, Lieutenant Weinberg?
Yep. It's great.
You stand there in that white uniform. I didn't go full.
No, you didn't. You edited that.
I self-edited, Harry.
Yeah, right.
Who's going to do it? That was one of the great scenes of all time.
Oh,
that was Bruno.
Iconic. Yeah.
The Eagles lost. Who's going to do it, Harry? Would you rather be a fan of the Cleveland Browns, Harry?
Yeah, I know.
I just didn't like the way they ran the third down play. What's this got to do with the Browns?
Well, we got to take the Eagles off the griddle because they're not as bad as the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, is this the standard? I'm just saying, Harry. I was wearing a Golden State tracksuit on the plane.
It's not my style to rip.
Yeah. I don't hate the NBA. I hate the hype. You go, I hate the hype.
Yep.
And you just be like, you're a hater.
Yeah.
You hate it. We should get Eunice on.
We should.
Is he still doing Godfather Locks?
I don't know. I have no idea. Every now and then I still get messages about him. I don't know what he's up to. He was actually working for one of the newspapers up in the Lehigh Valley. I think like selling for them, like advertising and stuff, I think.
Wow.
Last I knew.
With the North Face on? The fleece?
Yeah, the fleece.
I had the North Face toque on at the beginning of the program.
I saw
that.
It
makes me think of Joe Eunice and harness the fleece that he wore every day.
Oh,
the full zip.
Yep.
Like I'm not a fan of the full zip. I go quarter zip.
Yeah, I'm quarter zip. Absolutely. Yeah. I remember just Eunice in his final couple of weeks where I was like trying to talk him off the ledge and being like, dude, you're going to get zipped. Like, you got to calm down.
Yeah.
Like, he would sit right outside the boss's office. It was where his desk was. And he would be vociferously like anti. And I'm, saying shit. I'm like, dude, you got to calm down.
Yeah. Play the game here a little bit.
He's just like, nope, I don't care. I go, well, it's coming.
I can't help myself.
I'm telling you, it's coming.
We tried to bring him back too.
I know.
And he didn't want to do it. We offered him a Saturday show and everything.
Is that right?
Yeah, because he wanted to be on the air, and he thought about it, and he decided to take a pass. I liked Joe too.
So did I.
He's good sportsman.
Yeah, good NBA guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I've never seen a guy walk in with a bigger red rocket when it was NBA opening day or it was
baseball. Baseball. He loved to bet the baseball. Yeah.
The dude was walking in with a kickstand. He was so excited.
I know. When Felix Hernandez every 5 days when King Felix for the Mariners.
Load up on this one. 7 strikeouts. Yeah, he giving you all the reasons. Tell the people, Harry, about Fudge Kitchen, one of our favorite places. This is good fudge season.
Great gift right around the holidays. Right now, you got Thanksgiving next week. You got Christmas, New Year's, the whole thing, and then before it'll be Valentine's Day. And the official sponsor of Not For Long Media and the OG's podcast, the original Fudge Kitchen, is a staple of the Jersey Shore. They got 6 locations: Cape May, Wildwood, Stone Harbor, Ocean City. The original Fudge Kitchen makes all their fudge right on the premises, guaranteeing a delicious product. So stop by and let them know that N4L sent you. But if you're not able to visit in person, it's not a problem because they ship across the country. Be sure to check them out at fudgekitchens.com. The original Fudge Kitchen, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country.
Yeah, great. That's a great item for Thanksgiving and a great item to send to people that aren't in the area that want a little taste of the shore and summertime fudge, and always brings you back for sure. I don't have anything left to say, Harry. Do you have any parting words for the audience here on the Odd G's podcast, episode 42?
No, but I say the Aaron McKee and the Temple Owls better win tomorrow against Rutgers, or the season is in peril.
Already?
Yes. They've already lost 2 overtime games at home. They managed to hold on and beat Villanova at home. They've had 3 home games, lost in overtime to Wagner and blew a 15-point lead. And then they lost the other night to Vanderbilt, and they had an early big lead in that game as well. There's some problems if they don't beat Rutgers.
Problems on the campus. I got to see, do I still have McKee's number? I'd like to get him on.
He's not coming on during the season. I guarantee you that.
No, Blue won't come on?
No.
He's a great guy, man.
He is a great guy. But
you are efforting Jay Wright to appear on the program.
Yeah, and I've been back and forth with Jay, and he referred me on to somebody at CBS, because now he's going to be doing the games for CBS. And I sent them an email. They got back to me and said he's been inundated with so many requests that we're going to have to pass until we get him started. So I said I'd check back with him in like February.
All right. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
Get close to tournament time and all that.
Right.
And we are big fans of Jay right here.
Oh, yeah.
Villanova coach. But Jay is as classy a guy. I love that he responded to you and referred you on to the things the proper way. And to me, still to this day, in the last 30 years in Philadelphia, my formative years, best coach this city has ever seen in any sport.
Yeah, it's hard. You can make an argument.
Yeah, I mean, look at the battle he had to fight with that little tiny school on the main line, and to do what he did was unbelievable, and he did it with such class and dignity. I think he's one of the great citizens, to use Pierre Robert's term, of Philadelphia.
Oh, Pierre, nice.
Yeah. Good morning, citizens.
Yes.
All right.
He was also referenced on the Mikey Miss Angelo podcast. It was an interesting.
I wasn't aware that they tried to move on from Pierre last year. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I actually knew that.
Wow.
Yeah. Think about
crazy.
That. Yeah.
That is fucking bananas.
Yeah.
I guess you got to turn the page on everybody at some point.
Yep.
They turned the page on me and you quick. Boom. Well, you turned the page on them, Frank.
Yeah, I dropped the hammer.
Yeah, you did. You want to turn the page? I turned the page. Not you. All right. We'll be back next week, episode 43 of the Odd G's podcast. Harry, have a great week.
You too.
And we'll talk to everybody next week on episode 43 of the Odd G's podcast. Thanks for listening.
Happy